When we finished Stage 4, there were words that captured our curiosity. They created as many questions in our mind as they answered. In Stage 5, we'll develop these words into new words by shifting these curious words into new associations with a couple of tricks. We begin by selecting that one curious word in Stage 4. The recommended words to pick are in the Intangible or AOL section of Stage 4. But if you don't have either of those, you can go to Tangibles. In Stage 5, we take a break from gathering purely intuitive information and use this time to explore the biological connections in our brain connecting one word to another. For each of these curious words, there is a path of neurons that connect with other related ideas. Stage 5 shows you how to twist a word to reach into these new associations. These associations hold as much magic in them as all the wonderful things we've developed so far through intuition. We'll learn how emotions can link to one another, leading us to the details we are seeking. Using the Stage 5 form as a guideline, we start with either an intangible or AOL from Stage 4 worksheet. That word will be the kickoff point for our word development. If you didn't get an intangible when doing Stage 4, use an AOL or tangible word as a beginning. It's the best to use words which still lack definition. Stage 5 provides us with a worksheet to elaborate on one word from Stage 4 and evolve it into new associations. In computer-aided design, and even in some forms of remote viewing, to develop a structure or a target, we need to provide a front, top, side, and rear view of an object in order to define it in a three-dimensional view. We can take, for example, the word religious and evolve it into other associations. In this stage, we'll enlarge upon one word by changing it from an adjective to a noun, a subject into an object, and other manipulations that touch new places in our mind that ultimately connect us to the descriptions we need for our target. To coax the words from our mind, we request additional words through what we call emanations. We inquire with a question mark after the word and await associations to come. You can see from this illustration that just with a simple twist of terms, you can get much information from just one root word. Let's take a look at these words and define their meanings in Stage 5. Objects. These are anything you can see or touch. They're real, tangible items. Attributes. Attributes are aspects about the object, giving it a certain feel. It reveals the nature of itself. Topics. This further breaks down the subject idea into discussion elements. These are themes for discussion which elaborate on subjects. At this point, keywords can break down into smaller associations called cognitrons. We're probing the neurons to make new associations that are either a part of a large cognitron or separate parts of a larger fractalized cognitron. These associations can be very hierarchical in nature. It's important to remember that at this point, we're still not using any kind of topical or analytical associations. This is why we're specifically categorizing all of our thoughts with pre-labeled names, such as objects, topics, and so forth. We're still herding abstract ideas into a separate category. We do this to prevent imagination or creativity in taking us to new undesired directions of AOL, while attempting to define those AOLs we had in earlier stages. On the Stage 5 worksheet, enter the key word on the page under the Objects heading, and the word emanates, or data, and then add a question mark. Enter the words bubbling up to you from your associations. Then enter the key word under Attributes in emanates or data with the question mark and write any words that come to you from your association. Do the same under subjects, and then under topics. This is how a typical stage worksheet will look. When we're working on a word category in Stage 5 and we come up with a word that doesn't fit in that category, we will shift it over into the appropriate column and note it as a switch. Once you've developed words from the intangible and tangible lists, you can now go to develop the AOLs you may have encountered throughout your session and attempt to develop something significant from them. This is done through what's called reiteration. Psychologically, we're always moving forward and must be careful to not confuse or discourage the subconscious from feeling like there's some setback. Knowing this, we can go back to several stages to develop an old idea into a new set of words and images that need defining. Our minds are filled with associations to other experiences and emotions. Each of these is very personal to our mind and cannot be predicted by any outside cataloging or expectations. As such, CRV is a very personal experience. If we were to use the word chicken to elicit new ideas, we could see ideas branching, as seen here. The associations are completely unrelated except for association with that one word. Behind our selection of specific ideas associated with the word chicken are a series of emotions which take us to a conscious association with either of the noted words. We call this emotional context. We may have many emotional contexts that take us to many different associations. Very often, the frame of mind we are in will dictate which word we will choose out of the sets of associations. Or we can choose an emotion and the links to a new word will follow. Used carefully, we can find the desired aspects of a target by harnessing the emotions we recorded in aesthetic impact and emotional impact from Stage 4. These are emotions that branch back to the subconscious and link eventually back to the matrix through neurons that have been connected there. This functional diagram shows the rough idea of how the information comes to us from the matrix and attempts to find approximate relationships between the information and all of the things we've experienced. When the particular piece of information finds a fit, it will bond with that neuron and be associated with all the other associations that the neuron is also connected to. This is the encode process. On decode, we travel in the reverse direction from our conscious mind, taking cues from each link, then moving further in to approach the actual data. This is accomplished accurately sometimes, and other times not as well, depending on the substantial information unveiled by this time. These connections to the actual data can be startlingly accurate or often puzzling. The more associations you can drive inward, the better the chances of finding the correct connection all the way back to the matrix. Now that you've mastered this stage and have developed some real new visions of your target, you're ready to flesh them out in the next step, Stage 6.